Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, on September the 8th this year, the Ministry of Health launched an ambitious plan to end AIDS in children by 2027. Even as 9 in 10 children living with HIV have access to treatment, only 7 in 10 children living with the HIV attain viral suppression, meaning they can be declared HIV negative. Kenya still has a higher mother-to-child HIV transmission rate of 8.6%, but the government is optimistic that the plan to end AIDS in children in the next 3 years will bring this figure to under 5%. On this World AIDS Day, NTV's Bridget Ngana spent time with mothers living with HIV and shares their journeys in ensuring HIV-positive mothers do not transmit the virus to their children during pregnancy, labor, or birth.
It's a month since the Ministry of Health launched the Kenya plan to end AIDS in children by 2027. And here at the Bondeni Dispensary in Nakuru, the County Health Department is launching its 100-day rapid response initiative on preventing mother-to-child HIV transmission.
How do you feel when you've mentored a mother and they're living positively, and then when they deliver, you hear that their child has also turned out to be positive?
Among the attendees is Rose, not her real name. She requested anonymity, but her presence here is born out of necessity and a lived experience as a mother whose child is living with HIV. Rose tells us that she learnt of her HIV status in 2002 in the most unexpected way.
Tukaona kuna VCT, tumesikia tu VCT. Curiosity ikatuambia tuingie. That was in 2002. Tukaingia, and then those two mothers wakaanza, and then wakaanza kuningoja hapo nje. Mimi kuingia, kupima, nikiwa nakaa hivi nikiangalia pale kwa kona, naona ni kama inachora lines mbili vile daktari alikuwa, huyo counselor alikuwa amenielezea. Nikashikwa na tension nyingine, mpaka nikasimama naenda kuangalia na bado time ijaisha. Akanirudisha chini, so akaanza kunifanyia counseling cause aliona nikaa nimeona. Nikamwambia naona nini, ama turudie. So ndio akazileta karibu, akanihakikishia nilishtuka cause I didn't expect. At that point already nilikuwa na mtoto wako 4 years. Na tulikuwa tuko sawa, hatuna anything, hakuna kitu inatusumbua, tunaendelea na maisha vizuri.
Rose then confronted her husband over their HIV status, and what he told her baffled her.
So my husband alikuwa kazini. Alipofika, kwa sababu nilikuwa nimewahi mshika na cheating kadhaa, sasa alinikuta. Ile kelele alipata, matusi, yani stress yote nilimwagia, nilimtukana, nilimwambia kila kitu ambayo unaweza ambia mtu kwa hii dunia. Akakuja akaniambia hapana, hiyo test ulitestiwa ilikuwa free ama ulilipa? Nikamwambia ilikuwa free. Sasa wacha nikuambie, hizo za free zikuangi za ukweli. Kwa nini kuna ya free, kuna ya 500 na kuna ya 1000? Kumaanisha quality hazifanani. So hiyo ni uongo. Hata ukiangalia tuko tu sawa, afya tuko nayo. Imagine that is all I needed to hear.
It wasn't until her husband was bedridden and admitted in hospital that Rose finally got the confirmation of her HIV status.
So hapo ndio ikazidi, weight akalose, anaswetu usiku, ikabidi lazima aende usiku. Brother yake akakuja akamtoa kwa nyumba, akampeleka usiku. Kumpeleka ndio akapimiwa hapo. Tukapimiwa hapo, so reality so ilidon wakati huo.
But nothing broke her spirit than the confirmation that her child too had HIV.
Unfortunately, after 2 weeks hakumake. He died. So mimi nilirudi Nakuru kwa mama yangu na mtoto wangu. Wakati alikuwa 8 years. So tukiwa hapo ndio nikafikiria si basi niende niangalie hata mtoto. Tukaenda akiwa 8 years, hata afya yake iko poa sana, nakula lakini ya group poa. Kufika huko, story ni hiyo hiyo, ako positive. That was in 2006. Nakwambia hiyo kitu ili ni crash.
Rose got into another relationship in 2012, and her resolve then is that her second child will be HIV-free, fueled by the advocacy she had been doing to end HIV-related stigma and discrimination, especially for expectant mothers.
After remarrying, sasa nimeelewa story na HIV. From there, that is where now nilipata msichana ambaye leo ako 9 years na ako negative. Na kuambia hiyo ilinipatia shangwe, na sasa hivi tunaendelea vizuri. Nilipata kazi hata ya mentor mother kwa sababu ya hiyo. So mothers wenye nimementa kutokana na story yangu, nikiwa encourage, hata nikiwapea story nawaambia wakati ile hatukujua mambo ya dawa na nini, mtoto wangu wa kwanza alinfectiwa. Hiyo kitu inanisumbua.
No, I know that when I stayed for a month, I stayed with that.
For Alice Akinyi, an adherence counselor at Bondeni Dispensary, knowing her HIV status at 22 years of age did not adequately prepare her for when she decided to have her first child.
I didn't know all the procedures so well. There was that you don't breastfeed, you have to give birth through CS, and I saw it was a lot of things. I was doing my small businesses by then. So after giving birth in 2006, 8 months later, my child passed on. The PCR was taken, but I don't receive the results, so I didn't know if he was infected or not. So I conceived again in 2007, and I followed PMTCT services to the latter. I gave birth to a bouncing baby girl, and she's doing good. She's okay. I followed up all the process until she got discharged at 1.5 years. During 2008, there was that you can breastfeed, but until 6 months. So I breastfed until 6 months and then stopped until followed all the procedures. So I came to have another child in 2014.
Alice has dedicated her life to making sure that no one diagnosed with HIV falls off treatment. And at the Bondeni Dispensary, that includes HIV-positive mothers attending antenatal clinics.
There's this one mother who saw my child, this one who is now in Form 1. She was alikuwa mnono mweupe hanifanani, and she was like, so you can give birth to this beautiful daughter. Girl, I'm also going to conceive. She was positive as well. She was conceived, and I was like, yeah, it is possible. My child is HIV free and she's doing well. So it has been my passion. I always like talking to people about how they imagine how I learned my HIV status. There was nobody to talk to.
According to the Nakuru Health Department, the rate of HIV transmission from mothers to their children is at 10.7%, higher than the national average of 8.6%. And a rapid response initiative by the county government hopes to bring down those numbers.
When we looked at our data from 2021 to 2022, we saw an increase in mother-to-child transmission for children below 15 years. On 2021, we were at about 2,600, and in 2022, it shot up to 2,900. So this initiative is to stop further transmission of HIV from mother to the child through awareness. Out of 100, 11 babies get HIV through their mothers. So we want to bring that rate from 10.7 to 5% by December this year.
The rise in HIV infections in children aged 0 to 14 years in Nakuru is in part also attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic.
There is a stigma which we still have in our society, and during the COVID period, because of the lockdown, we had quite a number of infections, HIV infections shooting up, because people were enclosed and accessibility to drugs. There was a gap in terms of the ARVs for some time. So the children born at that period, after that period, were infected, and now we have gone back to following up mothers to the village to ensure they come for antenatal, to ensure we prevent transmission either mostly to the children, by having the youth also campaign for us to prevent HIV and prevent pregnancies.
A 2022 report by the National AIDS and STI Control Program, NASCOP, says there are 68,000 children living with HIV in Kenya, with 12 children being infected with the virus every day. 7 in 10 children aged 0 to 14 years contract HIV through pregnancy and breastfeeding. Nationally, Mandera is leading in the rates of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, ranging between 30 to 40%, followed by Wajir, Narok and Samburu, whose rates are between 20 to 30%. Counties like Turkana, Garissa, Isiolo, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Busia, Nakuru, Bomet, Machakos, Kitui, West Pokot, Kericho, Kakamega, Uasin Gishu and Kajiado counties are in the 10 to 20% range, while Kiambu, Kirinyaga, Nairobi, Murang'a, Nyeri, Nyandarua, Tana River, Lamu, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Kwale, Mombasa, Marsabit, Migori, Homa Bay, Kisii, Nyamira, Kisumu, Siaya, Vihiga, Nandi, Makueni and Embu counties are in the 5 to 10% range. For Alice and Rose, that HIV treatment is free and accessible to all at public hospitals is enough reason for any HIV-positive mother to ensure they have HIV-free children.
So you can imagine how watoto kama watoto wa stigmatize sahi of something they acquired bila kujua. Kusema tu kweli na wale wengine itakuwa aje, because that now means asikaribie mtu yeyote negative. That is stigma.
My workstation since 2006, I've been at the PMTCT, MCH clinic, talking about these mothers on how to let their children be HIV free. So the problem is some mothers, they come to the hospital, they pick drugs and then they don't take them. And others come late. You see, these teenagers, they are getting newly married. They were on care some time back. How are they going to express themselves to their new partners that, I'm HIV positive? That rejection. So they fear. So they don't take medication when they get newly married. So until they conceive, and if they conceive, they'll only come to the facility at later days, maybe at the 3rd trimester. So maybe others are now late. The virus has actually manifested a lot in the bloodstream. We've
realized where also the management of HIV is transmission to mother to child is not keenly forward, is either faith-based and some private facilities, small facilities. So in this initiative, we've decided we'll bring them on board through supervision and advice. We go there, take our champions there, advise them on, find out what they're doing and find out how they can do it better.
The next 3 years will see the country execute a feat that will need all hands on deck, including the 100,000 community health promoters, to implement the action plans towards ending HIV and AIDS in children. This year's World AIDS Day theme focusing on the importance of community-led responses to end HIV stigma, discrimination, and providing HIV prevention information. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru.
Some inspirational stories there and a lot to think about, some good food for thought.